Hey y'all, welcome back to Babeinlibrary. It's your girl Lisa, and today I've got a good one in store for you. Today we are going to do my Quinn for the Win reading vlog. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is a Quinn for the Win reading vlog? And that is going to be where I'm reading two books with the female main character named Quinn. In this vlog, you will see me talk about A.E. Valdez's Colliding with Fate. This is the second in the Rise and Fall series. You have our female main character named Quinn, and she's in a relationship with Kyrell. Versus me reading Tempted by Danger, and that was India Carter's book, and that has our female main character named Quincy, whose abbreviation is known as Quinn, and our male main character, Diamond Danger. We're going to go ahead and talk about these in depth, but before I do that, I wanted to take a moment to talk about some of the things that they have in common, because one thing is that I found out, now I did not intentionally go in reading both books with the name Quinn. I started with Colliding with Fate, and then, as you all know, I'm a mood reader, so I was like, okay, well, what do I want to pick up next? And Tempted by Danger was calling me, and it just so happened, as I picked up the book and started reading it, the female main character's name was Quincy. And so I was like, okay, yo, there's something behind this Quinn name. What I found interesting is that both of these books have male main characters who come from wealth, who come from legacy and dynasty families. And so their family drama is thick in these books. Like, the tension in the rooms with their families, you could cut with knives. However, what I find interesting is that these men are the top, the creme de la creme. They own their own business. They have influence in their community, and some of them worldwide. But one of the things that I find interesting is it takes that woman named Quinn that elevates them to that next level. Neither one of our male main characters, whether it be Kyrell or Diamond, had any interest of settling down. They were the who's who and the playboys until they met their match in their ladies Quinn. And so I love that we get to see the power dynamics and how these women really make these men who are alphas, right, fall to their knees. And so that was a lovely thing to see in both books. In addition, these are not, you know, your meek, petite women. I will say there's always a time and place in the community. We love big guy, little girl. However, it's something to be said about you getting a stallion, finding you that thoroughbred woman that is doing it for the taller girls. You have Quinn in Colliding with Fate. She is 5'9", and Quincy is 5'10". And so I love that we're getting that tall girl representation that lets us know, hey, we are feminine, we are beautiful, we are bodies of work to behold. And if you can't ride this ride, if you're not man enough to put me in my place and also be with a woman who is at your level, literally, you don't deserve the queen. So I love that Colliding with Fate and Tempted by Danger both had women that were taller as their female main character, because the tall girls need love too. In addition to that, another thing that they both have in common is the fact that they both show dynamics of relationship with opposite sex as platonic friendships. Both of them have female main characters or male main characters that is their best friend, and there's no other woman or other man drama. There's no question or concern about what the nature of that relationship is. And that is beautiful to see, because there can be platonic friends. In this vlog, I actually was going to go see one of my male best friends. And so I find it very interesting and timely that I was reading this, because in Colliding with Fate, Harlow is the best friend of Kyrell and the mutual friend of Quinn. And so it was very beautiful to be able to see that they could share a best friend, but really the true ride or die best friend to Harlow, our female main character from the first book, is going to be Kyrell. And there was no question or concern from Quinn about his relationship with Harlow. And then in Tempted with Danger, our female main character, Quincy, had a male best friend named Kimba. And one thing about Danger is he is crazy, no lie. The man has jealousy issues, but he never questioned Kimba and her relationship. He never wondered, why is she talking to him all the time? Who is this man? He never had to wonder. And it's also important to be said that your partner shares who their friends are and exposes you to that relationship and makes you feel comfortable and complete. And so I love that that was done in both books. And the last thing I'll say that these two share is the love of Mary Jane, the love of marijuana. And that is something rare that I'm starting to see a little bit more in books, but a lot of the times it had been shunned. And now that it is legal for medical use and recreational use in a lot of states, to be able to see that representation in books, because both of these characters are dealing with heavier topics. They are dealing with situations in which there's family trauma, there's depression, there's anxiety, there is trigger warnings for other things in life. I don't want to spoil the two books, but I will say finding that as a coping mechanism, but having it be done in a healthy way. In this book, Kyrell owns a dispensary, right? And so it's not improper use of drugs, but this is one where I will tell you that they are showing, you know, people with status, people with money, people with complex issues, and how they're engaging and using that. And so I just found it interesting. These two books are what I will be reading in this vlog. So let's go ahead and start with Colliding with Fate. Hey y'all, I am actually getting ready for work, but I wanted to stop and check in to let you all know I am reading Colliding with Fate. It may be a rainy, cold day outside, but that's not going to stop my joy, because I am finally getting around to the second in the Rise and Fall series. I finally know what the series name is. Look, y'all, it took me a minute, but I got it. I'm here. This is a book where I purchased it off the strength that A.E. Valdez said, like, this is the one that I resonate with. Like, this is her, you know, everything book. And I bought it off of that, knowing that the vibes was there. I haven't seen a single person say anything bad about this. So you know what that meant? I tripled down. I was gifted. My sister bought me this physical copy. I bought myself the audiobook when it came out, and I also have a digital copy. Yes, you heard me. Triple down, because there's no way I'm not going to love it. And I'm feeling the vibes. Like, have you ever read a book? You started it, and straight off bat, like, first chapter, it was like, yeah, this is the moment. This is why it's on my 5-star prediction read. And it's feeling a lot like another book that I own, which I'm going to talk about. Not apples to apples, but very similar vibes to Revive Me, specifically part 1. Both of these have family issues dealing with parentals, I will say, and they are stemming from affluent families, right? So you have in this one the problem being Chris's parents, and in this one it's actually both Kyrell, our main male character's family, and Quinn, our female main character's family. So both of them are actually in this book from affluent families, which I love to see. One thing about A.E. Valdez, she's going to make a book about Black people with money. Like, we can be rich and wealthy too, and we can have our own troubles and issues of the elite. And so that's one of the things A.E. Valdez always says, hey, I'm going to make it so that my characters all have complex backgrounds, but baby, we're not struggling. We're coming with the monies and the dollars, and we have real people problems, but we also have rich people problems. And I love that she lets us see ourselves as, you know, creme de la creme. So this also reminds me of Revive Me, specifically because the way in which Kyrell is dealing with his issues, I'll say, and dealing with a lot of his trauma and his thoughts are by going to boxing and letting his frustration and his anger out in the boxing match and sparring. And that's also what we see our female main character Mal do in Revive Me. But the way in which they're both getting out their pent-up aggression and understanding and working through their traumatic past is by going to boxing. And so I feel like these connect and resonate. And they both have found family, favorite people that they confide in that's kind of helped them talk through their issues. In this one, it's a lot of Dom and Sloan for Chris and Mal. That is their people. And in this one, Quinn and Kyrell share Harlow. That is their best friend. So this one is similar to, like, we're acquaintances, and I believe it's going to be acquaintances with benefits. They share a best friend, but neither one of them were close. Kyrell is like Harlow's ace boon coon. Like, they are, you know, two peas in a pies. They are locked in.
And Harlow and Quinn are like everyone, even though you got a best friend that's a male, you got to have your women. You have to have your tribe of girls that you're like, we're together thick and thin, and y'all are my sisters. If you don't, it may be a little bit questionable. You ain't got one girlfriend, you ain't got one sister that you can relate to. Yeah, I'm going to be looking at you a little bit different. However, and this one, they share a mutual best friend, and their best friend, Harlow, is like, hey, you're in California, Cairo is in California, you need somebody to help you move into your house, call my best friend, he's got you. But what Harlow doesn't know is that she started in trouble. Like, these two have sexual chemistry that is off the charts, and I can't wait to read it. I will let you know a little bit more as I get into this book. Just know that I am about 7 chapters in, and I'm having a grand old time. Okay, y'all, I'm parked. I just got to work. Again, I know I'm doing all of this every time I go to work, but let me say this. Amanda, we are 31% in. It is too soon for me to be getting emotional. Like, I am driving on the way to work, having a good time. And I feel a wave of emotion comes over me when we talk about the Kyrell and his father being at the Dodgers game and the significance and what his father decides to do in regards to, like, making up for lost time. I cannot. I've got to go to work. Like, I can't go with puffy eyes. I can't look like I've been crying. I can't go snotting. Like, please reserve this for another time. And I know it's my fault because I'm reading the book, right? Like, it is, I did this to myself. But I don't have nobody else to blame but you, because, no, I can't even blame you. You told me it was going to be emotional. Like, this is emotionally wrecking. Stay tuned, y'all. Okay, quick check-in. This is my fit for the day. I am actually about to go to Half Price Books, but before I do that, I just wanted you all to know this is a get you a Quinn for the win type of vlog. That's what I'm going to call it, because I did finish Colliding with Fate, and I don't have enough time to talk about it now, but just know it was a 5-star read. That prediction came true, and I loved it. Had a great time. Then I was like, okay, well, what do I want to read next? Going through my Kindle and going through my Audible, seeing what I had that I could match and pair. And that's what I was doing while I was on the treadmill. And let me tell y'all, I started India Carter's Tempted by Danger. Female main character's name is Quincy. Shortened, abbreviated version is Quinn. So again, Quinn for the win. Let me tell you, the prologue, baby, everything. Now, India girl, we have to have a sit down in the chat, because I'm trying to figure out why you have all of these characters with the name D. I know in the Black household, if whatever the father's name starts with, we're going to give everyone that same name. So the father, his name is Duncan. So you've got Diesel, Denim, Diamond, Doug, a bunch of D's. I can't tell you who is who. It's going to take me a while to figure that out. I do know that this is the relationship between Diamond, who is suffering from middle child syndrome. Like, the boy has issues, and reasonably so, because what we find out is that he necessarily wasn't nurtured as a child. He was actually born for a specific purpose, and if I was him, I'd feel some resentment too. And then your daddy was like, oh, cool, because you don't want it, I'm gonna give it to you. Excuse me, sir? Now you're just doing things out of spite. He said, I'm going to hand you over my entire company because I know you don't want it. And I know that you're going to succeed out of spite for me. Y'all, India Carter, she on to something. And then Quincy, let me tell you, this vlog and this back-to-back reading experience, I love that we're getting Black, wealthy, rich family with generational wealth that is handing it down. This is a small town girl with a big city boy and workplace romance because she's going to become his assistant. Screams me. So hopefully this one is going to give me everything I want because it also was a 5-star prediction. So let's just see if this is a 5-star prediction vlog, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. Hey y'all, so I'm coming back to wrap up Colliding with Fate. I have not finished or gotten any further in Tempted by Danger, but I will be reading that as I'm on the plane going back home tomorrow. But I just wanted to let you all know, Colliding with Fate, like I said, it's a 5-star prediction and it's a 5-star read. One thing that I'm going to say is that A.E. Valdez knows how to write. She knows how to write a female main character. Let me say, Quinn is my girl. Like, first and foremost, she's going to ride with you. She's going to support with you. The lady literally said, I'm going to walk with you. Whatever comes your way, I'm going to stand beside you. And she did just that. I will tell you, while I enjoy Kyrell, I enjoyed him so much as Harlow's best friend. Like, he was definitely a trooper. And he reminded me a lot of my male best friend, who I am down here in Dallas to support. He reminds me a lot of him, like stand-up guy, in terms of like, we rocking together. You want the best for me, I want the best for you. We're good. We're solid. Now, in Kyrell's own book, that's where I was like, this can't be the same man. This is a little funny because I've got questions. And I'm not sure who to ask. I'm going to ask you, Amanda. Kyrell in this book is an a-hole. Now, again, me personally, I have a penchant for a-holes. Like, I am the person that falls for the guy that I shouldn't be falling for. So, it rings true. But Kyrell has some issues that he has to work through. Reasonably so. Like, the things that I personally feel like A.E. Valdez did not like this man. She made life so hard for him. That 3 to 4 weeks where he found out like the sky was falling, I was like, you want to have this drink with me? Like, me and you, we can talk this out. Let's go to therapy together because you need it and I definitely need it, but we're going to talk through it. I don't know. Kyrell is someone, while I still love him and enjoy him, obviously A.E. Valdez knocked him off his pedestal with this one. I will say the way that he handled Quinn's news was by far the worst option he could have done. And I don't necessarily feel like he made up for it. But when you're there, that's all that matters. Like, we can put the rest of it behind. You've got things to do and we got to do it together. I will tell you that A.E. Valdez, like I said, took him through the ringer. That man has a lot to unpack with his therapist, but the good thing about him is that he's willing to do the work. Yvette, baby, the next time I do Family I Like to Fight, you're going to be at the top of the list. Like, you're the scum of the earth, and there's nothing that anyone could tell me otherwise. And that's why you didn't get anything from your husband. Like, that's the end of that. We're done. I should probably tell you what the book is about. This is a friends with benefits billionaire romance. One thing I love about A.E. Valdez, she's going to make sure that Mary Jane is in the picture because Kyrell owns a dispensary. He is not one to settle down. He doesn't do relationships based on, like I said, a lot of the trauma that he's had. And Quinn is not ready to settle down either, which works out perfectly for the two of them. They're like, okay, we love the same person, we're in the same city, let's just go with the vibes and see where it leads us. And where it leads us is a happily ever after. And I like how A.E. Valdez wrapped their love story together. Not everyone's happily ever after has to look the same way, as I've told you all time and time again. But one thing about it, they're going to ride for each other thick and thin. Like Quinn, as I said, is going to go the extra mile. She was there for any milestone that Kyrell had and held him down. And for that, I can forever be grateful. And when she said, hey, you on one, I'm on one with you. Like, if you want to get there, I can go there. And I love that. Also, let's talk about the cuteness. There are so many cute, funny moments. Like, they're falling asleep on the phone together like teenagers. They are cooking a meal together. They are riding through the city on his bike. Now, I have some concerns because Kyrell is prone to accidents. Like, the man went to the ER not once, but twice. And granted, she's a nurse, but she's off duty. Like, please help her out. Like, in the spicy scenes, y'all know how I feel. Like, A.E. Valdez knows. Like, the things that they were doing led to where the result was. The proof is in the pudding. If you do the practice, you win the championship. And like she said, she won a jackpot. Like, the man acquired $142 billion. Like, my mind can't even fathom what I would do with a man that could buy me anything. Like, I'm so happy that A.E. Valdez said, yeah, I'm going to make these people wealthy with regular people issues, and I'm going to make y'all fall in love with them. Yeah, if I have not told y'all to read A.E. Valdez, what are you waiting for? She has an entire series that bangs. And then she said, okay, I'm going to double back and get another series. And y'all going to love it. The woman is unstoppable. Support her. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next clip so that I can read Tempted by Danger. We can get our next Quinn for the win. And we're going to close out this vlog once I read it. Talk to y'all soon.
So now it's time to go ahead and wrap up Tempted by Fate. Now, as I told you all earlier on in this vlog, the prologue was hitting. Like, India Carter had me gripped, and she had me by my edges from the prologue. Page 1 was good. And then from there, it just continued to snowball into greatness. I will say that this book here had everything you could have wanted. It had soft, sweet, touching moments. It had salacious, sexy time. It had family drama to boot. And it also had a lot of really healthy discussions about how much you let your family impact you, how much you let them dictate you. And it talked a lot about trauma. And one of the things is both books talk about the importance of therapy and figuring out how to come through that with also having a partner. Both of these books are chunkers. I want to be honest to say that they're both 400. I think one is 419 pages. The other one may be like 475. So do not let that fool you though. India Carter had her foot on the gas the entire way. And then when she got into the 75% mark, I felt like we were on a rocket. Like, I had to hold the chair and hold the seat because it went from 0 to 100 really quickly. And I love that. I love that certain authors, you will get to see that in their writing style. Their 75% mark is where things start to taper. You have that third act breakup, and there is just a little bit of lull before they get together. Not India. India said, okay, bet I'm gonna put a third act breakup in here, but that third act breakup, the characters are going to go through hell on their own. Like, they are going to realize they are not better alone. They are better together, and they're going to go through some things so that when they come back, they're like, yeah, why do we break up? Why do we do this? This was dumb. This is one of those situations where I told you that there's family drama. You do get an understanding of why Diamond's family treats him the way that they do, why his brother has animosity with him, why his mother is so cold towards him, why his father acts the way that they do. And I'm not telling you it's valid. I'm telling you that you get that payoff and you get to see the reason why. I loved experiencing Diamond stand up for himself after his woman, Quincy, took the initial step to say, hey, you're not going to treat my man like this. And he don't have to take it. And if he decides to, I'm going to put an end to it, because she held him down. And like I said, there's also some additional characters that you get to learn more about. India does a really good job of teasing that through. You're always like, okay, well, what is the reason? There's got to be something. And she holds it out to the very last moment and then she drops it. When she told me about what transpired between Kia and Diamond, you could have sold me for a penny. You could have told me that it would have been anything else, but I didn't see that coming. And the way in which she did it, India Carter will give you soft moments and then boom, smack you in the face with something. I love that. I love when I can find an author that will keep me on my toes. Now, one thing I will tell you, we talked about how like there is touching moments, there's family drama, but I told you that there's also sexy time. And I want to tell you, if you are a fan of these two books, if you are a fan of Praise and you're a fan of Highest Bidder, that is one of the things that I'm seeing reflected in this book. And I was not prepared. I went into this blind and I knew it was a boss secretary type of relationship. So that's where it gets a little bit into the Praise. There is a small age gap. I believe it's like 6 years between the two. But it was more so about that boss secretary dom sub relationship that you get a little bit of a glimpse into it. And there is a pleasure club. And in that pleasure club, you have someone bidding and they spend goobs and gobs of money. And that's where it got me to Highest Bidder. So I will tell you, if you're a fan of Salacious Players, but you want to see that all of the books kind of combine together, because I will also tell you that even though Diamond is the alpha in the relationship, you can see that Quincy has him wrapped around her finger. And I love that. I love being able to get to see and experience their dynamic. I'm going to tell you, it's not perfect. Diamond is crazy. The man, he ain't too right, but he's right about her. And he's right when, you know, I know that's my woman. I may put her through hell, but ain't nobody else gonna put her through hell. Not gonna be dealing with that with friends, family, whoever else. That's my woman and I'm gonna stick beside her. I also will say that he isn't necessarily the easiest person to love. Very much like Kyrell. Both of them, like I said, were on their playboy behavior. You got to see how they treated women. They never cared about anybody else. But once they find their person, once Diamond knew that Quincy was his woman, he said, hey, let me tell you, I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna spoil you. However, I'm gonna still act a donkey. That's one of the things, like, this shows the true relationship that can happen. You get to see jealousy over one another. You get to see how some relationships are where they want that drama and they want that spark. They want to feed off of each other energy to know that they're always being desired. They want to know that they're the only person. They want to be inside that person's skin and knowing everything that they're doing. They want to be that person's world. And that is very much what you see in this book. I won't say that this book was completely perfect. I will tell you that in their love and lust for one another, I was sick of Quincy calling him Mr. Diamond. First of all, you're a grown woman. It was cute at first, and I thought it was going to be like, ooh, Mr. Diamond during sexy times. No, she called that man Mr. Diamond inside of work, outside of work, inside the bedroom, in relation to family. Girl, if you don't call that man Diamond, if you don't figure out a way to call him by his name and move past that, even though it may be toxic and crazy, I will say that this is one of the most realistic type of relationships you get to see in books. Normally, everything is perfect. They don't really show what goes on in the home. This one, you get to see everything. You get to see their spats, their tit for tats, where the honeymoon stage is not necessarily in play. You get to see how real couples, they may be arguing and they're in the bathroom handling their business while it's going on. There is no personal space. Your body is my business to know. There's talk about, you know, making sure to check your ovulation, to be able to care for certain things. Like this gets into the what it looks like in terms of a relationship. Also, you get to see how sometimes relationships become petty, and you do that tit for tat. Oh, you made me mad? I'm going to give you the silent treatment. Oh, you think that you're going to do whatever and I'm just going to sit at home? No, I'm going to go out with my girls. Like this gives you that, and it gives you that real relationship understanding of how their dynamic works. And trust me, they're going to get on each other's nerves because they work together. They wind up moving in together. They want to be with each other all the time. At some point, you're going to get sick of each other. And while they don't necessarily get sick of each other, they definitely have ways to one-up each other and get on each other's nerves. But that does also make the passion a lot stronger between the two. I'm going to try not to jump directly into book 2, which is Diesel's book, because there is no book 3 yet. And I need India to tell me what she's doing. So that being said, do me a favor, leave me a leaf emoji for Kyrell and his dispensary business, or if Tempted by Danger sounds better to you, leave me an orange emoji. And if you read this book, you'll know why I say orange, because I'm never going to look at an orange slice the same way. And if you don't want to do either one of those, tell me your most recent book that you loved during this month, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye.